Aegon is seemingly absorbing all this stuff as Larys is talking to him, and, Larys is being very respectful. At the same time, he's telling him some hard truths and things. And I love that, like, Aegon's first response is, "My dick fell off." And Larys is like, "Yeah, it did." It did. And I love how he describes it. He's like, "Did the maesters tell you how it happened?" And Larys is like, I didn't. He's like, "It exploded off of me like a hot sausage, like a hot cooked boiling sausage." And just like, I was like, oh my God. All right, my friends. So here we go. House of the Dragon Season 2. So I've been reviewing House of the Dragon Season 2 on a weekly basis, I guess for 8 weeks now. And it's been very fun, to do so. I was already a pretty big fan of Season 1, as were like many others, a lot of people. And it definitely renewed interest in Game of Thrones and the Game of Thrones adaptations just after the disastrous Season 8 and that god-awful finale. And from episodes 1 through 4 of House of the Dragon Season 2, and hell, I'll even throw in the 5th episode, in there, I was really digging it. But I got to be honest with you guys. These last several episodes have left me wanting and feeling pretty frustrated. Now, that's not to say that there aren't like any really good things about these last few episodes. There absolutely are. There absolutely are some good things. And we have some wonderful writing and acting by several actors. And I definitely want to highlight, those things in just a bit. But I would say everything after the 4th episode, which was by far the best episode of the season, that climactic, battle between, Aemond, and you had Rhaenyra coming in there, the queen that never was, and Aegon getting set on fire, and the ground battle and all that, the drama leading up to it. Wonderful, wonderful. But I would say, these last few episodes, they just felt like filler, or honestly just build up to the third season that we have to wait another 2 years to get, most likely in 2026. And I have to admit that really bothers me. But to be positive at the top, all the sequences involving the dragons is truly grand and terrifying. Those sequences, and even in the back half of these episodes, really shows just how powerful and intimidating these creatures are. The CGI is great. And when like Rhaenyra is basically holding tryouts for dragon riders in just like a last-ditch effort to gain an advantage over Aemond, who's now Prince Regent, and just the Green faction, it's both tense and later on just very brutal. And the characters of Hugh and Ulf actually feel like they're properly a part of the show now, instead of just being kind of strung along, getting these short clips in every other episode just to remind us that these guys are still in the show for whatever reason, for some reason. But we finally get some payoff with them, claiming dragons in their own ways. And yes, we're still getting some very well-written character moments, too. Like Aemond Targaryen, who's played wonderfully by Ewan Mitchell, has been killing it figuratively and literally this season. Like every scene that he has, whether it's interacting with members of his family or the small council, it is great. He's great. He's everything you want in a cunning and threatening villain. It also helps that he's extremely competent as well. Just a very competent psychopath. Maybe aside from him, I also put like Otto Hightower in there. They are, he's the standout character, the standout actor for me in season 2 of House of the Dragon. And honestly, in terms of just the best parts of the season, it really just extends to all the Greens as well. As I mentioned before, like Rhys Fons is Otto Hightower, and his epic monologue and meltdown early this season, just screaming at his nephew, criticizing nephew, trifling and doing all that. I thought that was great. To Aegon II's life completely falling apart, or exploding off of him in the case of his sausage. Now, listen, I got to take a moment to talk about, poor Aegon the Second and Larys. Their weird little relationship works very well for me in this particular season. And this is kind of a spoiler. We do find out something about, Aegon. Obviously, he was horrifically maimed, horrifically injured during the battles of Rook's Rest, maimed by his brother, Aemon Targaryen. And he suffered horrific burns, broke his legs. But we also found something else out about him in this particular episode. As Larys, I love their little talks, little moments, because I think Larys, it's weird, because Larys Clubfoot, he's this manipulator. He's lying constantly. He's conniving. He's doing everything that he can to get ahead and get those feet picks. Like, those seems to be his motivation. Shit, get more power and more feet picks, right? But he seems to have this nice kinship with Aegon the Second. And it's like, yeah, first I think I'm like, oh, he's just manipulating him. And I'm sure he is. But I think he sees a lot of himself in Aegon, especially this guy who's in a position of power, but he is suffered like massive injuries and disfigurement and won't be able to walk again, much similar to Larys, who has had to deal with that disability for his entire life. And, he's been more open with Aegon than he ever has with anyone else. Maybe aside from Alicent and her feats, right? But outside of that, I think he's been very honest with him. And so he's basically been trying to like motivate him to ease his suffering and his mind and everything, and saying like, listen, you're never going to be the same again. That's true. But at the very least, you have your mind, you have your brain, and you'll be able to hone that, and people underestimate you. You can use that to your advantage. And Aegon is seemingly absorbing all this stuff as Larys is talking to him, and, Larys is being very respectful. At the same time, he's telling him some hard truths and things. And I love that, like, Aegon's first response is, my dick fell off! And Larys is like, yeah, it did. It did. And I love how he describes it. He's like, did the maesters tell you how it happened? And Larys is like, I didn't. He's like, it exploded off of me like a hot sausage, like a hot cooked boiling sausage. And just like, I was like, oh my God. Aegon's not doing well. I mean, he seems better. He's a little grody. He's a little gross and stuff. But I was like, oh, he seems to be, okay, his leg's kind of fucked up, and he's got like a Harvey Dent Two-Face situation going on. But everything else seems to be okay. It's like, nope, I don't have a dick. And I was like, damn, sorry, man. And Larys is like, I really don't have anything. I can't like respond to that. I have nothing to follow up with that. All I could say is, hey, you still got your brain. You still got your noggin. But again, both Tom Glencarney and Matthew Needham, who play Aegon the Second and Larys respectively, they just really work for me this season, especially in the back half with these episodes. I like their little dynamic. It was something interesting and something that I did not expect. But that aside, there's just some really frustrating things about Rhaenyra and the Blacks this season, and how so many of their stories felt stagnant or just weirdly out of place. And all of that really comes to a head. All of that is represented, I feel, with Matt Smith's Daemon Targaryen, who is a fan favorite character, especially from the first season, the rogue prince, as he's sometimes called and referred to, and he's one of my personal favorites as well. But the decision to keep his ass at Harrenhal for the majority of the season while tripping balls was a mistake. Especially what it all amounts to. Early on it was fun, but 6 episodes were dedicated to that. And that's 6 too many. Like, I'll give him 2, I think is fine. But you can't just have him doing the same things over and over and over again for that many episodes, especially when the season starts off so strong with him basically, setting up this horrific assassination that causes a lot of tension across the realm, and a lot of turmoil in both the green faction and the black faction. And here it's just like he's just tripping balls for most of the time. You took one of your most, if not your most popular character off the board from a lot of the action in this particular season. It's like, yes, you still had some fun supporting characters peppered in that subplot, like Simon Strong, who was, very funny and sassy when he needed to be. Oh dear, like all that. I liked him a lot. He was great. But Daemon's vision trips amounted to something I think is honestly better left untouched. And, and this does kind of get into spoilers a little bit. And so just forewarning you. But I think it's just a huge mistake trying to connect this show and the Targaryen Civil War, the Dance of Dragons, to Game of Thrones proper. That means storyline. The fire and ice prophecy, Daenerys and the White Walkers. I'm just like, I don't know why you guys are doing this. It just reminds me, and I think reminds others, of how poorly Game of Thrones ended. And the last thing I would do is remind people of that season and the finale. In this finale of this particular season. It was a very odd choice. And then in this particular episode in general, it's like episode 7. It's like, okay, that was fun. All the stuff with the dragons worked, and you had all the dragon seeds coming in there, tryouts, and most of those fuckers died horrifically. With the exception of, obviously, the few that managed to escape. But then you had, Hugh claim, Vermithor, and then you had Ulf claim Silverwing in their own unique ways. Like, that was fun. That was cool. That was exciting to see. And they had, like, the whole one-shot sequence, or made to look like it's one shot with Hugh, and he's, trying to get people to safety while also, like, shouting down this dragon. He's like, come on! Like, doing that. I was like, okay, that's pretty badass. And Vermithor's like, fuck, this guy's a badass. I'm like, yeah, he kind of is. And then Ulf just being like, I just, you know what? I just accept death. And Silverwing's like, oh, you're cute. You know what, buddy? You could be my dragon rider. Ulf is like, all right, cool. Oh, that was fun. But in this particular episode, even though there was some stuff that stood out and that was cool, a lot of the stuff with the blacks just didn't work with me. Like Rhaenys, who is one of the daughters of Daemon Targaryen. Her story was just lackluster this season. Everyone kind of looks at her. I'm not speaking ill of the actress or anything. Just of what's being written for her and how she's being directed. Because everyone kind of looks at her as being pretty useless. She's not like a dragon rider. She's like, the only thing that she really does is kind of take care of Rhaenyra and Daemon's like youngest kids and stuff. And even the Vale's like what's her name? The Lady of the Vale of that particular kingdom in the Seven Kingdoms. She's like, you're kind of useless, aren't you? And she just goes on this quest to like try to find another dragon, which she doesn't even claim by the end of the episodes. It's just a bunch of scenes of her just going, just running, not prepared whatsoever, just running out into the countryside, slurping up parasite-filled water and shitting herself and vomiting everywhere and trying to find this dragon. I was just like, and they cut to that not once, not twice, not three, 4 fucking times. 4 fucking times they cut to that sequence or that storyline. It was like, this is not working. Also, Jace Valerian, I feel like he should have been given more stuff to do. He had that great scene. He had that great moment when he was negotiating with the Freys. And it's like, oh, the Freys, like, Walder Frey, of course, played by David Bradley in the original season. And I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. And to see, his ancestors, right? And I thought that was a great moment. And he held his own with them. And those other actors playing, the Lord and Lady Frey did a great job. And then after that, they don't do anything with him. He has this scene where he's like, he's just pounding most of the time because he's dealing with his daddy issues or lack of a daddy and the fact that, he's a bastard, right? And even like they established that his betrothed is Baela, right? Targaryen, who they're all these Targaryens and Valerians are just fucking each other. Everyone's related. Everyone's like a sister or brother or uncle or niece or, cousin. They're all just stupping each other. But it was like, okay, well, if you're not going to, like, do much of him other than him complaining about, like, being a bastard, then have him hanging out with his soon-to-be wife. Like, they had these little moments in little scenes, but I'm just like, man, go the full way with it. Like, have them being, like, really intimate with each other. And they just didn't do that. I mean, it's kind of weird because technically they're, like, half-brother, half-sister and all that shit. But still, I wanted more of that. And this felt like they didn't really know what to do with that character. But outside of him and outside of Rhaenyra just seemed, the main character of your goddamn show, Queen Rhaenyra, she just seemed somewhat lost this season. I kind of like that they established that her and also Aegon II are not really effective rulers. I think that's interesting. Early on, I was a little nervous and a little worried that it's like, all right, well, the Greens are just going to be all evil and things, and the Blacks are going to be like, oh, these are the good guys, they should win, yada yada. But I kind of like the fact that they did portray them as uniquely useless as like a regent, and having trouble ruling and making, decisions. I thought that was cool. But honestly, I feel like they were started just to do random stuff with her for no reason that has just gone nowhere. Like, she has this surprise romance, a romantic moment with the White Worm lady. I never remember her name. The advisor woman who was from the first season. And she's, she absconded, from King's Landing, and she's here in Dragonstone, where those two have a romance, or they just start kissing out of nowhere. I'm just like, what's going on? And then it's forgotten later on. They don't even do anything within this episode. So it's like, what was the point of all that? Nothing about that came across as natural to me or relevant to the story that you're telling. It was very, very weird. And just so much of this episode is just people mustering their forces, making plans within plans within plans, and finally about to head to war, right? And then it all ends, and then it cuts to black. This last episode, which is the longest of the season, I think it's 70 minutes, felt like a 70-minute trailer for season 3. A season that we're not going to get until 2 years from now. 2026 most likely, at the earliest. And, we should have gotten at least 2 more episodes, a full 10-episode season, and a climactic finish, right? Usually episode 9 in the past, I'll make a kind comparison to Game of Thrones. Usually episode 9 in Game of Thrones was always like, that's the big episode we've been building towards. Also, maybe we'll have some cool stuff in between. But episode 9 is the big episode. Like episode 9 in season 1, Ned Stark gets his head chopped off. Like in season 2, it's the Battle of Blackwater Bay. Season 3, it's the Red Wedding. You see what I'm saying? Season 4, it's the battle at the wall, right? And they don't do that here. They didn't, I guess you could say episode 7 was like with the dragons. I'm like, okay, all right, sure. But it just ended so quickly. And now we have to wait for the proper conclusion. That's the thing. We have to wait for the proper conclusion of season 2 in the first several episodes of season 3. Apparently, the show, I was reading up on this because this doesn't make any sense. This is just weird to me. Like, why would you then do 8 episodes like they started to do in the latter seasons of Game of Thrones, where season 7 was 8 episodes, and then season 8 was 7 or something. It was not nearly as much as the prior seasons. Apparently the showrunners wanted a full season. They wanted a full 10 episodes. But apparently Warner Bros. Discovery and David Zaslav, or David Zumbafu, as I like to call him, denied them a full season because of cost cutting. And because they did that to the showrunners, it hurt the quality of season 2. Again, I think the first half was much stronger than the second half. And that's not to say that we didn't get some great moments. We absolutely did. Episode 4 of season 2 is great. It's one of the best episodes of the series so far. Hell, you could put up there of episodes of Game of Thrones. Certainly, those ninth episodes of those seasons. Totally. And there was some great build-up and some great character interactions and things, monologues, all that, right? But this back half didn't really work for me. And we got a very anticlimactic season in the end. One that ends on more of a sour note. It goes out on a bit of a whimper instead of a dragon's roar. Instead of a dragon roar. And that's disappointing. Because like all of you guys and everyone else out there, I was like, yeah, can't wait for season 2. And it took 2 years. A long fucking time. And now we're gonna have to wait another 2 years. And I'm gonna watch it, but I'm not really as excited. I'm not really as excited because My fear is like, are they okay? Is season 3? Because they said they're gonna give this 4 seasons. They're gonna give this 4 seasons. This is like, okay, well, is season 3 gonna just be more setup? Is season 4 finally gonna be where we're gonna get all this stuff where it all comes to a head? Like, I don't know. I'm unsure. So yeah. Sadly, Chad, I was really high on this season at first. I was really digging. I was like, oh yeah, this is great epic television, but with smart writing and wonderful characters. And I feel like they dropped the ball. I think they dropped the ball in the last half. But what about you guys? I'm actually very curious. Did you absolutely love every aspect of this season? Were you more kind of, I guess, mixed like me? I suppose I'm more mixed on it. Or were you disappointed? Did you not like it from episode 1 all the way up to episode 8? Let me know.
5 minutes later.
He's our new Dickless. He replaced Theon. He's Dickless. This man has no dick. Burned, broke his legs, landed in a bear trap, rolled in a tar, feathered, and his dick exploded. Just went, I love that he describes it as like it exploded like a cooked sausage. I was like, oh God. And Larys, for the first time, he's like, he had nothing to say. He was like, I can't follow up with anything. I thought that was great. Yeah, he's the show's Littlefinger. He's cool though. I like him. I guess not his feet picks above Allison. I get it. Yeah. Our new Dickless. Reek. Yeah, he's the new Reek. Yeah. I was gonna eat sausage for dinner tonight. Not anymore. I'm gonna eat sausage. I could eat it. I was eating while I was watching the episode. I was eating sausages, but I could have get some fucking sausages with some Grey Poupon mustard. Oh, some hot Grey Poupon mustard. Absolutely. I was actually eating chicken legs at the time. That was pretty good though. Let's see. Chris here. I think it's in regard to Daemon. He's in a boring ass spirit quest all the time. Yeah. I'm just like 2 episodes max for that. 2 episodes max, and you got to get him back into the action shit. And they spent 6 episodes, and all they did, inevitably, like what it amounted to, was something we already know, right? Which is the Son of Ice and Fire, the Long Night, the Prince that was promised, Daenerys and Jon Snow, and all that. It was just like it didn't end very well. Or it was disappointing for a lot of people. So it was very bizarre that they're really leaning into that. That I'm just like, don't do that. Don't do that anymore. But it feels like that's now such a big part of the show. And I'm just worried that's what it's all going to be about. It's like, please don't do that. Like, just have it be focused on the Targaryen Civil War, because that's the thing I'm most interested in. That's the thing I actually like. Just like, I like the idea of these 2 sides who are uniquely flawed. And maybe neither ruler is right for the 7 kingdoms, but that's what makes it interesting. I don't want to connect to this prophecy. Bishop Sycamore, good to see you. In the middle of a review, indeed. But I just finished it. I got another review. I got 2 more reviews after this. Let's see here. She's fine as well, though. The White Worm Lady. Yeah. Boo, David. Boo, David. Post House Dragon meme. This guy can check it out. Season 3 could be the dance ending on a cliffhanger, and season 4 could be its conclusion after that. Yeah. This was like a cliffhanger that didn't really. We're not even at the cliff yet. We're not even at the cliff yet. It's like, are we there yet? Nah, we got like 2 more episodes worth of stuff to do. Krabby's like, man, you're kind of man the episode 2, Krabby, or this season. Feel like filler like the boys season 4. Yeah, I gotta do my review for the boys. I gotta get caught up on that. Let's see here, but I'm mixed on this season, Chad. It's too bad. I don't think it's as good as season 1. I think season 1 I had a full 10 episodes, and that ended in a very satisfying way. That season was like, oh, it made me excited for season 2, and where it's like how this wrapped up, I'm not nearly as excited for season 3 as I was initially for season 2 because season 1's ended so strong. So it's frustrating. It's disappointing. Yeah. Oh well, Chad. We'll see. I'll see. Hey, see you in 2 years. They got to bring their fucking A game for this next season. Now I'm like, all right, are you just going to do another 8 episodes? You're going to get the full 10. Man, fuck David Zaslav. What a piece of shit. He's ruining content, Chad. He's ruining all these great shows and movies and shit with his cost-cutting practices. Just what a dick. Oh, man. Anyway, let me move on to the next thing, my friends. I know I'm sounding kind of negative about this. I am being kind of negative about this. But, hey, maybe I'll be positive about something. Yes. Nope, that's the wrong one. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Cool. Oh, yeah, I could check out that, yeah. On the Discord. The meme. Sure, I'll check out the meme. Bro, I don't know. Allison did a complete 180. In my opinion, she was a better character in season 1. Man, you bring up a good point, bro. I'm actually glad you brought that up. That is, yeah, it's that was very confusing. The only thing that I can speculate like why she did that is because her son kicked her off the council. She realized like, oh, I have nothing. I have no power anymore. I'm not appreciated and things. And so, yeah, that was. You're right. You bring up a good point. Yeah, she was not. Again, she had some great moments, some great scenes. I love her like emotional breakdown. As during that small council meeting where she was like clearly having an anxiety attack or a panic attack of some sort. That was pretty cool. And Olivia Cook, right, who plays the Allison, she did a great job for what she was given. But you're right, there's flip floppy, very flip floppy. You're not wrong. And good to have you. You're welcome. Always good to see a first time viewer in here.